key activity in risk management is to develop what-if scenarios to test the resilience of an entity to major shocks. At SCOR, this is particularly important because we have exposure to risks of all types. We use the word footprints because it conveys the idea of a scenario leaving its mark on the group's balance sheet and infrastructure. We look at various impacts, but in particular we look at the solvency ratio, the impact on the debt leverage, our liquidity, on our ratings, and also on our own operations. There are two main families of footprints. We have historic footprints and imagined footprints. We update the historic footprints on a regular basis to make sure that they're still relevant for SCOR's current exposure. For instance, for a hurricane, we would look at the exact trajectory, the wind speed, the location of the landfall, and also take into account any changes to the environment that have happened since the event. So we've now built an extensive catalogue of these footprints going back as far as the 17th century. In theory, there's no limit to what we can imagine in terms of scenarios, but we focus on, extreme events, but still plausible events. Examples of imagined footprints that we've recently worked on are antibiotic resistance, major cyber attacks, and a chemical attack. We can actually use the footprints as building blocks to create what we could call combination footprints. For instance, in 2017, there was quite a series of natural catastrophes. We had the hurricanes of the Harvey, Irma, Maria, then we had Mexican earthquakes, then Californian wildfires. So obviously SCOR wasn't exposed to this, and the net effect on SCOR was about 500 million euros with a negative impact on our solvency ratio about 11 points. We can also extend this idea to imagined combination events. So if we take 2017 again and just look at Irma and modify the characteristics of the event so that the trajectory goes up the east coast of Florida instead of the west, actually hitting Miami, we can see quite a different total net impact. In fact, we've actually used some of the footprints to change some of the characteristics and the features of our retrocession program to make them more effective. So I would say that footprints are an extremely important risk culture mechanism.